commit the crime and you participate.
Thank you. And how about principal by indispensable cooperation?
Well, in the sense that, for example, if there is no way of traveling from one place to another, and you are the only person who can provide the transportation, a vehicle, and that should be indispensable cooperation. Without the vehicle, you cannot commit the crime.
Thank you, Mr. President, for enlightening us. Going back to your statement that you are taking full legal responsibility to all the victims of war on drugs, both legal and illegal. It is my humble submission, Mr. Chair, that the former president can be considered liable for all these crimes under the theory of conspiracy by being a principal by inducement. I wish to manifest, Mr. Chair, that without the order, without the reward, these police operatives should not have resulted to killing a huge number of victims of war on drugs.
Beg to disagree with your premise, ma'am.
I understand, Mr. President, but that is a manifestation.
Yes, but
Thank you,
if
Mr.
police is
President.
supposed to do his duty. He goes to school for 2 years. He receives instructions to how to go about his duty. And we have to give the presumption of regularity. That's a principle of law.
Thank you,
Na
Mr. President.
Pag every time na may ginawa kaya in your favor is the principle of regularity
Presumption
in the
of
performance
regularity
of duty.
of performance of official duty, Mr. President. Thank you for your enlightenment. Mr. President, I wish to ask, with all due respect, considering your statement of taking full legal responsibility, both to legal and illegal activities, can I equate this statement of yours to an extrajudicial confession of guilt?
Well, in a sense, yes. Wala na akong magawa eh.
Are you saying yes, Mr. President?
Yes, because I ordered the campaign against the drug syndicates. At kung anong ginawa nila, whether illegal or not, it was ako ang nag-utos. In that sense, I take that responsibility of their actions. Wala akong magawa eh. Commander ako, nag-utos ako. Puntahan ninyo yan. Just like a commander, or not a military, police, iutusan mo. Pag may nangyari dyan, magkabulyaso, whether right or wrong, iyo yan. Iyo talaga yan. Kung hindi ka naman bobo na mayor, hindi mo iwanan yung tao na inutusan mo. Unless yung pumunta doon, inutusan mo mag-operate ng illegal gambling or mga droga, tapos nag-rape, kung anong ginagawa na kabalastugan, ako na mismo ang papatay, hindi na kailangan na hintayin mo pa.
Mr. President, earlier, you conformed to my statement that I can equate your statement of taking full legal responsibility as an extrajudicial confession of guilt. You said yes to that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just reiterating the question, Mr. President.
It's not about guilt or a wrong. What I'm saying is that yung lahat ng inutusan ko yung war against drugs, o yung isang platoon dyan o isang batalyon, kung ano yung ginagawa nila, kaya I take full responsibility for that.
Mr. President, you are surrounded by, I believe, 4 lawyers.
Hindi ko na kailangan, ma'am.
Because you are a lawyer yourself.
I can take of myself. I can take care of
Yes.
myself.
And of course, you understand the elements of an extrajudicial confession.
Yes.
You confirm that you are of sound mind.
And not only that, body
Yes.
as well.
You confirm that your statement is voluntary.
Yes.
And of course, you confirm that you understand the consequences of your extrajudicial confession.
Hindi naman alam, hindi naman ito korte. So,
I understand, Mr. President. That's why we call it extrajudicial confession.
It is not a confession. It is a statement coming from the mouth of a mayor or a president at that time. It is not a confession. You are characterizing the word. Mali, ma'am.
The only one,
Do not characterize that as a wrong.
Mr. President,
Policy yan.
the only one that is missing among these elements is that it should be in writing.
What?
And my question will you be willing to translate into writing the statement that you earlier said?
Hindi na nga ako marunong, yung pirma ko noon, hindi na nga pirma ko ngayon.
But of course, you have a lawyers to help and assist you. Prepare this written document.
Hindi ko na kailangan yan. Bakit ko pa writing dito na ngayon? It's documented by the records here. Magtanong na kayo na magtanong. Ano? Anong gusto mong tanongin? Criminal?
Mr. President, I wish to proceed to my next question. Do you know Laod firing range?
Do you know?
Alam niyo po ba yung Laod firing range?
So, hindi. Do you know?
Nalalaman niyo po ba kung ano
Tao
o
yan.
saan yung Laod firing range?
Doon ako nagpa-practice magbarel para pumatay ng tao.
Thank you. Nagpa-practice po kayong bumaril para pumatay ng tao.
Oo.
And alam niyo din po ba yung Laod Quarry?
Hindi ko na negosyo yan, ma'am. Yung firing range, na.
But at least you are aware that Laod firing range is situated in the Laod Quarry, within the premises and compound of Laod Quarry.
Siguro.
Tama po ba yun?
Within the premises of a quarry, there is a firing range.
Do you confirm that, Mr. President?
That should be the question.
Do you know Ben Laod?
Yes, I think so.
Who is Ben Laod?
Si policeman.
He's a policeman.
He owns the land
He owns the land.
where the firing range is located.
And do you remember, Mr. President, that the CHR, during the time of the former chairman, Laila de Lima, investigated and inspected this Laod Quarry, where they were able to discover human bones. Are you aware of that?
Sino ma? Who investigated?
Panahon po ni Chairman Laila de Lima sa
I do-
Commission on Human Rights.
Sorry, I do not know her.
Nag-imbestiga po ang CHR
Ay,
tungkol
siguro.
sa extrajudicial killing kung saan nakadiskubre po ang taga-CHR ng mga buto ng katawan ng tao. Kayo po ba ay aware dito?
I am aware of only one bone. Dala-dala ni... Sino yung sinabi mo? Binalot
CHR
niya.
former chairwoman, Laila de Lima.
It's there. Hindi, isa lang po.
And you are aware also that the former DOJ Secretary, Vitaliano Aguirre, represented Ben Laud in the investigation of the extrajudicial killing.
What do I know about the investigation? Or
If you
about
are aware,
Aguirre?
Mr. President.
Yes, Aguirre is my
Are you associated? Of course, you are associated to Vitaliano Aguirre as a matter of fact.
He's my
Contemporary.
sa eskwelahan. No?
And during your time, you appointed him even as the DOJ Secretary. Tama po ba?
Yes, because bright.
During that time, Mr. President, you were the mayor. Tama po? Mayor of Davao City.
No, I cannot appoint a secretary. Hindi ako, mayor lang ako po, so it has to be
Now, let me rephrase my question, Mr. President.
somebody else's job, not mine.
During the time when these extrajudicial killings happened, you were the mayor? Tama po ba yun?
Well, not only during my time as mayor.
Was there any point in time, Mr. President, na pinaimbestigahan niyo po itong mga buto ng tao na nakita sa Laod Quarry?
Dala nga ni, sino yun? Hindi yun nag-imbestiga doon.
The CHR, Mr. President.
Oh, si CHR.
Kayo po ba'y nagpa-imbestiga? Even during your time as mayor or during your time as president, pinaimbestigahan niyo po ba itong mga buto na nakita sa Laod Quarry?
Bakit ako mag-imbestiga ng mga buto dyan na maraming buto ng tao na...
So you did not initiate any investigation?
Of course.
Mr. President, I will proceed to the next question. On December 31, 2004, nag-conduct po ng raid ang PIDEA 11, headed by Superintendent Wilkins Villanueva, joined by some operatives of PIDEA Manila, National Headquarter. 6 po yung Chinese na napatay. But in addition to this Chinese, a certain SPO4, Val Carillo, apprehended Alan C. along with 10 other companions. Based on the affidavit of Mr. Las Cañas, Mr. President, you ordered the killing of Mr. Alan C. along with the 10 other companions.
That is not true. That is a job of the police. Hindi ko trabaho magpatay, ma'am.
There are 2 important observations in his affidavit, Mr. President. Ang sabi po niya dito, si Alan C. ay nag-offer ng 200 million for the release of the 2 chemists and another 100 million for the remaining 8 personalities. But when he tried to seek your permission, you refused, and you even said, madami kayong intel funds.
Totoo yan. Kung bribery siguro yan. Hindi ko, never in my...
Are you confirming, Mr. President, that during this time, Las Cañas and Sunny Buenaventura sought your permission whether to release Alan C. and the 10 others in exchange of the 200 million plus 100 million?
Masyadong maraking pera yan, man. Totoo yan.
You are denying it, Mr. President.
Of course.
But do you confirm that when you refused this offer, you even told Sunny Buenaventura and Arturo Las Cañas that you have ample intel funds, so you don't need those bribes, if you call it bribe?
I do not remember making a statement like that. But money for operations against crime, malaki ang funding ng Davao City.
Another important observation, Mr. President, these 11 personalities were asked as to the whereabouts of their passport. Alan C. said that his passport was taken by the operatives, while the 10 others, ang sabi po nila, hawak ng employer nila. And the employer was named as Michael Yang. What can you say about this?
Nothing to do with it. Wala akong pakialam dyan. Hindi ako nakikialam ng mga passport.
Mr. President, to conclude the question about this Dumoy raid, this is the raid of the PIDEA which happened in Davao Shabu Laboratory on December 31, 2004, where 6 Chinese personalities were killed during the raid, and the 11 others were brought to Laod Quarry, where they were summarily executed and buried upon your order, according to the testimony of Arturo Las Cañas.
Do not believe Turlos Kanya.
Let me proceed to the
Binubula ka lang yan.
next question, Mr. President. In 1993, Mr. President, binomba po itong St. Peter's Cathedral in Davao City where 7 died. Naalala niyo po ba ito? And according
Point
to
of
Arturo
order,
Las Cañas,
Mr. Chair. Point of order.
What was
I
the
would like
rule
to
that was
find
by-
out
excuse me,
If Attorney Delgra is coaching the President, because she has been whispering in the ears of the former President. But to find out.
Attorney Delgra, please refrain from coaching. The President is able to answer all these questions being asked
He's
of him.
advising me
And
about my
you're
legal
only
rights.
limited to advising
Legal
your client
rights.
with his rights. Nothing more, nothing less.
He's
I
a
hope
lawyer.
you follow the rule, Attorney Delgra. Please
He does-
proceed.
He does not have to coach me. I know how to answer.
Mr. Chair, 1993, binomba po ang St. Peter's Cathedral, Davao City, where 7 died. Naalala niyo po ba ito, Mr. President?
Yung simbahan, ma'am.
Opo, St. Peter's Cathedral in Davao
Yes, ma'am.
City. At sang-ayon po kay Arturo Las Cañas, kayo ay galit na galit sa pangyayaring ito.
Sinong hindi magalit, ma'am?
At dahil po sa inyong mahigpit na galit, ay inorderan nyo po itong sina Las Cañas na bombahin ang mga moske, kasama po ang Kamamara Mosque at Bancorehan Mosque. What can you say about this?
Crazy, ma'am. Do you know that my mother is a Muslim? That's an idiot statement.
In other words, you are denying.
Of course.
Mr. President, let me proceed to June Pala. Sino po si June Pala?
Well, he was a broadcaster.
He is a broadcaster who used to criticize you during his programs. Tama po ba?
Everybody. Pati ako, tama yan. Trabaho niya yan.
And according to the testimony of Arturo Las Cañas, you ordered the killing of June Pala.
Niwala kay Las Cañas. Lahat na nandang participation ng crime niya, kanya. There's a pattern, you know. Look at the pattern of the crimes. Kanya lahat ng ano. Do you believe that as a policeman? Would I? Would I?
Kanina po, Mr. President, I started my interpellation with acknowledging your courage in taking full legal responsibility to all the victims of war on drugs, and you said both legal and illegal. The reasons why I asked about Laod Quarry, where human bones were found. The reason why I asked about the Dumoy raid, where 11 Chinese personalities were summarily brought and killed to Laod Quarry. The reason about why I asked about the mosque bombing and the killing of June Pala is I wanted to substantiate the courage that I saw on you when you initially expressed taking full legal responsibility to all the victims of war on drugs, both legal and illegal, according to you.
You are substantiate?
Yes, Mr. President.
Where's the proof?
Mr. President, I'm anchoring my questions about the separate incidents from your initial statement that you are taking full legal responsibility
Yes.
to all the victims of war on drugs. You said both legal and illegal.
Yes.
Mr. President, you are a long-time prosecutor, correct?
Correct.
And of course, it is very fundamental upon us, all lawyers, the
Yeah.
requirements of due process.
We are zeroing in on a particular individual now.
Due process is the law which hears before it condemns. Due process is the law which requires notice and hearing.
If you say so.
Mr. President, I hope that we will be reminded that by due process, the end does not justify the means. Kanina po, tinanong din po kayo ni Honorable Brosas about the number of the victims of war on drugs. Tinanong po kayo about statistics, and you lamented na hindi nyo po alam or dala yung records. Now, I want to share to the public the statistics of the victims of war on drugs.
Well, we are...
Mr. President, this is from PIDEA. I think this is a consolidated effort of Karapatan, Global Witness, National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, the Supreme Court, Rappler, and the Philippine Drug and Enforcement Agency. We have 6,252 individuals in police anti-drug operations as of May 2022. 27,000 to 30,000 individuals, including those killed vigilant style. 427 activists, human rights defenders, grassroots organizers as of December 2021. Land and environment defenders as of December 2020, 166. Journalists, media workers, as of April 2022, 23 victims. Judges, lawyers, prosecutors, as of December 2021, 66 victims. And mayors, vice mayors, as of December 2021, 28 victims, Mr. President. Mr. President, my question is, when you implement war on drugs, did you strictly comply with the requirement of due process?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I will wrap up. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chair, it is my humble submission that contrary to the answer of the former president, I humbly believe that the former president and his war on drugs never complied with the requirements of due process. The statistics show, Mr. President, the huge number of victims of war on drugs. If my memory serves me right, during the time of Aquino administration, there are like around 200, and during the present administration, there are around like 200 victims as well of war on drugs. Given these statistics, Mr. Chair, this is almost or around 31,000 victims of war on drugs. If indeed they follow the requirement of due process, wala po dapat ganito karaming patay. At ang dapat, maraming kaso na pending in court. I hope all of us will be reminded by the fundamental law that no person should be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. By Mr. President's own admission of his accountability, both to legal and illegal actions of the police, it is the humble submission of this representation, Mr. Chair, that the Quadcom is ready to make a recommendation for the filing of the necessary action in court. That is a violation of the law, RA 9851, Act defining and penalizing crimes against international humanitarian law, or at the very least, the murder cases as defined under the revised penal code. To finally conclude, Mr. Chair, last series of questions to Mr. President, again to substantiate the courage that he was able to show during the initial part of this hearing. Mr. President, in the past hearing of Quadcom, may 3 pong Chinese drug lords na napatay sa Davao Penal Colony. Are you willing to take accountability and responsibility also for this?
Wala na ako niyan, ma'am. Nandito na ako sa Maynila.
So, you are saying no.
Oh, well, kung gusto mo isali yan, idagdag mo na, okay lang.
How about the death of General Barayuga, the PSCSO Secretary? Are you willing to take full legal responsibility for this?
I do not kill generals.
The death of Mayor Aldong Parohinog and the 15 others in Osama City. Are you taking full responsibility of this?
Hindi ako nagpatay ng mga mayor, ma'am.
The death of Mayor Espinosa of Albuera Leyte. Are you taking full responsibility on this?
Hindi, ma'am. That's my birthplace.
The death of Tony Halili in Tanawan City.
Malayo yan siya sa akin, ma'am.
The death of Mayor Perez of Los Baños.
Lalo na.
Ibalik ko po dun sa una niyong sinabi. If you are denying all this, alin po yung tinutukoy nyo when you said you are taking full legal responsibility to all the victims of war on drugs, both legal and illegal?
Yes. Kasi order ko kasi yung, that was my campaign against drugs. Na yung, alam mo, maraming istasyon, maraming pulis. Kung nagkaletse-letse doon, hindi ka maghugas ng kamay. Dapat sabihin mo, akin dyan, kasi of course, nagkamali sila. Now, if there is an appropriate action na gusto ninyong ilabas, then file the case in court. Wala namang pigil. Matagal na yan yung sabi extrajudicial killing. I am challenging anybody or everybody who makes the accusation, whether it is really true or not, it may be true, file the case in court because may korte tayo. And even if I will admit na totoo yan, you have to go to court because I will make the admission there again.
Are you saying, Mr. President, that when you go to court, you're willing to admit also your accountability for all the deaths during the war on drugs?
Ay, of course, may abogado man ako, ma'am. Kung ano sabihin ng abogado ko, susunod ako.
I hope that everything that you said before the Quad can be reduced in writing so that truly we can believe that you're taking full legal responsibility to all the victims of war on drugs, both legal and illegal, because as lawyers we believe that by extrajudicial confession, we have to put that in writing, Mr. President.
Totoo yan, ma'am. I order the campaign against drugs. Hindi ako it's a policy of government or of the president. Hindi ako maghugas ng kamay. Hindi kasi yung department yan, akin yun.
Mr. President, last question. If one of these days the ICC will come, will you voluntarily submit yourself?
Sipain ko pa sila, ma'am.
But you said a while ago that if somebody will sponsor your fare to the ICC, you will voluntarily submit yourself to their investigation and jurisdiction.
Yes. Pero kung sila magpunta dito, sipain ko.
But will you confirm that you are willing to submit
Oh.
voluntarily yourself to ICC?
Punta ko doon, sipain ko rin sila. Same.
I have nothing further, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Congresswoman Luistro. The next to interpolate. Yes,
Mr.
Attorney
Chair,
Bell.
with all due respect, Mr. Chair.
Okay, welcome to Storycon. Parang soccer match ang pinapanood natin, puro sipaan. I'm Ed Lingao, and with me today, Storycon resident political analyst, of course, Tito Raul Llamas. Ano po?
Hindi ako marunong manipa eh.
Mukhang mas makulay itong House House Quadcom in the sense na walang tagasalag.
Well, mas marami kasi yung mga personalities na nandito, no? At marami ring mga resource persons na nandyan, no? Si Attorney Conti nandyan, Chel Jokno,
Sila de Lima,
at
magkatabi na sila.
Laila de Lima,
Magkatabi talaga sila.
di ba? Nery Colmenares. So, hindi ko pa nakita kung sino yung mga iba pa. Tapos, siyempre, may mga tigta 10 minutes na manifestation yung mga congressmen. So, mas marami yon, no? Pero, pwede natin pag-usapan later, yung laman. Pwede natin i-deconstruct yung diskusyon dito at yung pagsagot ni President Duterte. Pero makikita mo yung kaibahan na dito sa Senado eh. 'Di ba? Dito kahit magtaas ng boses, hindi pinapayagan si Kwan eh. Si,
talagang ginaganon siya eh.
Oo, kaya talagang
Teka,
ibang-iba.
I'll break in. May sasabi si Secretary Pereira. Listen to that.
Second video
Sino?
of the interview of the
Video.
former president about the Dumoy bombing. If this representation
many
may be
minutes is
allowed
that,
to. I think this is 19 seconds, Mr. Chair.
Seconds, okay, please.
Secretariat, kindly play.
Before that, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Vice President Sara Duterte. Secretariat, can you please play the video? May I also remind our lawyer friends of the former president to please
I did it because I had to do it for my country. Hindi nila na ginawa ko. Kaya yung sa Dumoy, inubos ko talaga.
Sir President, Mr. Chair.
I did it because I had to do it for my country.
That's it?
I reiterate this statement.
The former president said that he reiterates the statement he made in that video.
With that, Mr. Chair, then I conclude this interpellation.
Okay. Thank you, Congresswoman Luistro. So again, before we acknowledge the next interpellator, I'd like to remind our friends from the lawyer friends of our former president to please, it is not allowed under our rules that you can make manifestations. But we do appreciate the information that you shared, and we will take note of that information. But again, let me emphasize that under our rules, we cannot allow the lawyers of our guests or our resource person to speak and address the committee. So I hope that is clear to our lawyer friends. And with that, we will now acknowledge the next interpellator. The next interpellate is Congressman Rog Gutierrez. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, before I proceed with my interpellation, simple manifestation. This representation has noticed that the good former president is more comfortable in a conversational manner of speaking. With that, I'd like to move, I would, if the committee and the rules would allow, I'd like to waive the rule that he cannot speak while I'm speaking, so as not to hinder him. I want the former president to have an unhindered and unadulterated chance to give his statement. So with that, should the good former president understand, I will yield the floor at any time that he wishes to speak.
Okay, let's now talk to our mobile journalist covering the House Committee hearing today. We have Mojo Merimon Reyes. Merimon, can you give us a quick briefer of what's happened so far?
Yes, Sir Ronald and Sir Ed. So far, natuloy na itong Quadcom hearing kasama nga ito si former President Rodrigo Duterte. And simula kaninang 11 a.m., banda magta-10, dumating siya dito. Around 11 a.m., nag-start na to. And so far, maraming confirmation tayong nakuha mula sa kay Pangulong Duterte tungkol sa extrajudicial killings during the war on drugs of his administration. Kasabay na dito yung sinasabi tungkol sa pag-take niya ng full accountability and responsibility sa lahat ng action daw na ginagawa ng law enforcement agencies na may kinalaman dito sa EJK. Natanong din yung 21 na numero ng mga kabataan na nadamay daw, na namatay during the war on drugs. Ang sabi niya, collateral damage lang daw ang mga ito. Pero still, he is taking full responsibility tungkol dito. With regards doon naman sa reward money, ang nasabi dito ni Duterte, oo raw, kailangan daw talaga ng pondo para sa operasyon ng mga pulisya, lalong-lalo na yung mga follow-up, follow-through operations, dahil hindi raw sapat talaga dahil sahuran lang daw ang pinangahawakan ng mga pulis. So sinabi rin niya dito, even local officials ang nagpopondo raw ng mga operasyon, police operations, and kung may sobra pa nga raw na pondo, ito yung magiging reward money. 20,000, pumapatak hanggang 1 milyon kada matutugis na either drug lord, drug trafficker, or drug suspect. Kasabay nito, nakikita din natin yung presence ni former Senator Laila de Lima. At yun nga, nabanggit niya to, Sir Ed. Magkatabi silang nakaupo pero so far hindi sila nag-iimikan. Ang narinig natin kanina sa bibig ni de Lima ay yung sinabi niya, dinenay niya pa rin yung paratang na siya nga daw ang parang queen ng mga drug lords. Lalong-lalo na katabi niya itong si Duterte. At lahat daw ng mga paratang na ito plus yung 7 years na pagkakakulong sa kanya, hindi raw ito naging magandang bagay pero eto na sila ngayon, magkakaharap na sila. Narinig din natin kanina, over 100 kasi yung mga kamag-anak ng mga naging biktima sa EJK. May 3 sa mga ito narinig natin kanina umaga na may tigda 2 minuto silang magsalita. And so far, ang hinihiling nila sa Quadcom, at the same time, pinarinig din nila dahil magkakaharap na sila nila Duterte, ay yung hustisya daw laban doon sa hindi makatarungan na pagpapaslang sa kanilang mga kamag-anak. Ilan sa mga nabanggit dito, anak o kaya naman ay asawa nila. And so far, sa lahat pa nung iba pang mga detalye tungkol dito sa EJK, yun pa lang yung nakukumpirma. Nasabi rin kanina ni Pangulong Duterte nung siya ay alkalde daw ng Davao, totoo na meron siyang about 6 to 7 na kriminal na siya raw mismo ang pumatay. So wala siyang dinedenay pagdating sa paghahawak ng firearms. And totoo rin daw yung sinasabi na may times din na gusto niya rumonda o rumoronda siya habang nakasakay ang motorsiklo. At naghahanap nga daw siya ng pagkakataon kung mayroon daw bang gulo at kung kakailanganin niya yung paggamit ng firearms. Balik po sa inyo.
Okay, maraming salamat, Mary Mon Reyes. Bok, let's do a quick recap lang of the other pointers, the other points that were raised kanina. Nabanggit ni Mary Mon yung reward system. Also, yung ICC, hinahamon niyang ICC, bilisan na ang pag-imbestiga at pumunta na rito. Hindi ko pumunta rito. Parang gusto raw niya pumunta doon sa ICC mismo at sisipahin niya yung ICC basta may magpupundo at kanyang
lalo na kung
pamasahe.
may sasagot ng kanyang pamasahe.
Oo.
Pero saktong-sakto kasi ito dahil naglabas din ang Malacanang through Executive Secretary Bersamin na hindi nila pipigilan ng Interpol kung sila ay pupunta rito para i-implement ang isang international warrant galing sa ICC. Saktong-sakto. No? Halos sabay na sabay nung lumabas yung statement na yan ni Executive Secretary Bersamin at nung pinag-uusapan itong ICC na sisipain ni Digong. Pero willing siyang pumunta kung may sasagot ng kanyang pamasahe.
Baka pwede miles yan, hindi pwedeng miles?
Pwede yung miles ko, pwede ko ibigay sa kanya. No? Pero may dagdag yun eh. May tax pa yun. Siguro mga $100, gano'n. So, handa ako
Kaya mo na yun.
Handa nga ako magsakripisyo para sa ating presidente.
Si Tito Ronald ay handa raw ibigay kay miles at pati yung butil.
Oo.
Yung butal.
Tsaka hindi economy, business class. No? Handa na ako magsakripisyo. Mawala na ako. No? Mawala na ako.
Pang VP ka talaga.
Para humalap lang sa katarungan ang ating dating presidente.
Some other interesting
Pero baka mahirapan niyang sipain.
Bakit?
Medyo marami yun sa ICC. Tsaka iba-ibang bansa yun. Iba-ibang bansa. Tsaka medyo mataas ang security ng ICC. Mismo yung kanilang mga bintana are bomb-proof. Ibig sabihin, kung titirahin nyo ng rocket-propelled grenade, ay i-resist nung pader at nung glass na bintana sa ICC. Yung isang rocket-propelled grenade. No? At yung kung sasabog sa labas, ang absorption ay palabas, hindi pa paloob. No?
Well, are you supposed to be saying those things? Are they security issues? Ikaw talaga. Hindi mo dapat sasabi mga
Ano
ganyan.
naman, observation lang naman, no?
Bok, teka, some more things ha. Curiously, ito, nabuto ko kanina. Inamin ni dating Pangulo na siya mismo lang pumatay doon sa 4 na Chinese sa isang drug lab sa Davao City. At ang sabi niya, nanlaban daw. So parang pelikula na 4 na ang pinatay niyang nanlaban.
Na nasa kulungan.
Oo.
Na nasa nakulungan ng laban. Aba, ang tatapang nun, ha? Nanlaban sila. No,
Tapos
sa loob.
sabi niya, ubusin daw yung mga yung mga ganyang kriminal.
May may mga contradiction eh.
Ay,
Sasabihin niyang ganito, tapos pero pag na-confront siya at may ebidensya, babaguhin niya. Halimbawa, nung sinabi niya kay Congressman Dan Fernandez na hindi siya nagtatanim ng ebidensya. Lalo
specific
na
yun.
siya ay nag-train sa mga pulis.
Ito,
mga pulis,
read
paano
yung
gawin?
quote, ha?
Nung nilabas ni Dan Fernandez yung video na sinasabi niya nagtatanim siya ng ebidensya, medyo binago na niya.
Nung una, sabi niya dun sa, nagtanong si Dan Fernandez na, totoo bang sinabi niyo nagtatanim ka ng ebidensya? Sabi, that's garbage. Alam ng pulis yan, the planting of evidence, hindi ako papayag. That's illegal. I was teaching criminal law. Kung hindi yan sa libro na tinuro ko, hindi totoo yan. Tapos nilabas si Dan Fernandez yung soundbite. Soundbite mismo. We planted evidence, we arrested persons, and we released them, blah, blah, blah. I was, totoo yun. That was part of the strategy as a mayor and leader of the law enforcement agency. At nung nilabas yun, paano kakasagot niya? Yes, that is true.
Oo, namin niya na sinabi niya yun. So, pag ganun, pag nako-confront siya ng sarili niyang sinabi, ay binabago niya yung kanyang original na sinabi.
Ito pa, may sinabi pa siyang na, bakit papatay ng addict? Dali mo yan sa ospital. Addicts are victims of criminals. That is common sense.
Oo, pero at the same time, sinabi niya, pag puno na yung kulungan, itapon mo na. No? At huwag mo nang dalhin sa ospital dahil ipapagamot mo pa yan. Kung dadali mo sa kulungan uli, ay papakainin mo pa yan. No? May ganun din siyang sinasabi.
Not to mention, in 2016, sabi niya, Hitler killed 3 million Jews, I will kill 3 million addicts. Of course, mali yung numbers, pero...
Tapos, actually, 6 million yun. Tapos, nabanggit din niya, dyan, dati, na yung mga addict ay sunog na yung mga utak. Kaya hindi na marirehabilitate. Pero sinabi rin niya rito, at saka dun sa Senate hearing, ang kanyang strategy ay rehabilitation. No? So,
Tapos yung palitan nila ni, I think it was Franz Castro, about Michael Young. He was
Mahalaga
insistent
yun.
na si
Mahalaga.
Michael Young ay, there is no evidence to show daw that Michael Young,
at siya ay legitimate na business
owner,
Oo.
may department store daw sa Davao.
At yung mga legitimate na, yung mga negosyante, tawag nga niya, inchik. No? hindi niya tinawag na Chinese, yung inchik. Ay, kung sino-sino yan. No? At handa siya makipag-inuman sa mga yan.
Picture-picture.
Kahit yan ay mga kriminal. No? Pagkatapos, sa kanya babarilin. Yun ang sabi niya. No?
But I bring up Michael Young kasi sabi niya, so dinepensa niya si Michael Young, wala raw ebidensya linking him to drugs.
Pero nagulat ako na hindi binanggit yung kaso labang kay Michael Young. Sa usapin ng Pogo, sa usapin ng drug raid, multi-billion peso drug raid sa Mexico, Pampanga na nakalink kay Michael Young. At walang nag-confront sa kanya na nakaalis na si Michael Young. No, wala na sa Pilipinas according to
Parang
the Bureau of
sabi niya sa Davao
Immigration.
pa raw eh.
Oo nga, sinabi niya nasa Davao. Dapat sinabi sa kanya, ito yung record ng Bureau of Immigration. Kaya siguro sa susunod na hearing, paghandaan nila dahil hindi naman very predictable naman si Digong eh. Yung mga sinasabi niya ngayon, dati niya sinabi. So paghandaan mo at ipakita mo ang mga contradiction ng kanyang mga sinasabi. Lalong-lalo na kung may video. No, lalo kami video. Ang dami nun eh. No? Ang dami nun eh. Kaya nagtataka ako, bakit hindi masyadong lumabas yung ganong klase mga contradiction? Lumabas naman kahit pa paano. Pero ang dami
Actually,
nun.
si Dan Fernandez was prepared, ha?
Yeah.
May meron talaga siyang ganun kagad eh. One more thing about Michael Young.
Bumilib ka?
Best friend mo, di ba? Sabi niya, about Michael Young, kung talagang ebidensyang nasa drugs si Michael Young, ako papatayin ka yan. Ako mismo papatay yan. Tapos inibita pa niya si, I think, Franz Castro, sumama ka, panoorin mo. You will witness a murder.
Tama.
So it makes you wonder, so nanlaban ba o bakit murder ang pinag-uusapan na rito? If he will kill those involved dahil lamang nanlaban out of self-defense,
Yeah.
which was a repetitious parang symphony for them, self-defense, why is he now talking about murder?
Tama. As sabi ko nga, inuulit ko, ang daming contradiction. At ang role dapat ng Kongreso, ng Quadcom, kung hindi ito gagawin ng Senado, no, ay ipakita yung mga contradiction na yon, no? Na sinubukan gawin ni Congressman Luistro, Dan Fernandez, to some extent si Congressman Pimentel at saka si Abante, although si Abante parang nagmukhang spiritual advisor, no?
Naniningil. Naniningil ba?
Sinasabi pa, naniniwala siya na si Digong, ang puso niya ay punong-puno ng compassion, no? No? Yan, no? Kaya, pero nakita mo rin dito, no? Yung kanyang mga kasama ay nagrally sa kanya. Nandun si Executive Secretary Major Dea, nandun si Panelo, nandun si Vice President Sara Duterte, di ba? So, lahat sila parang
unexpectedly,
nagpapakita ng support. No? Siguro sila yung expect nila dahil drama yan eh. No? Drama yan eh. Actually, hindi mahalaga rito yung mga, hindi naman to court of law eh. Hindi naman mahalaga rito yung mga legalities. Ang mahalaga rito ay images eh. Di ba? Images yung mahalaga rito eh. It's a show eh. It's a show, di ba? Yun yung, kung ang show ng Senate ay medyo very deferential sila sa dating
ito
presidente.
Ito na sila, pushback.
Ito ay medyo may, kahit pa paano, may pushback, no? Pwedeng mas dapat pang pinaghandaan, no? Dapat pang ikinanto. Pero kahit papaano, meron ng ganong klase na wag kang magtataas ng boses, di ba? Lalo kaya hindi na siya nakapagmura.
Huwag ka sagot ng sagot.
Di ba? Wag kang sasagot pag hindi ka tinatanong, no? Hindi ka pwedeng magtanong dito sa mga kongresista. Resource person ka lang eh, di ba? So nilalagay siya sa lugar, no? Ibang-iba dun sa nangyari sa Senado.
One more, Bok. Yung reward system, always a question, magmula nang nagsalta si Garma. Itong sasabi niya ngayon, in a way, inamin niya. Pero ang paliwanag niya, maraming LGUs na gumagawa niya na kami, mga mayor, pupondo dyan sa mga drug operations na yan at yung matira, ang hindi maubos, imbes na ibalik, sinasabi namin, sa inyo na lang yan. And in a way, that's the reward system.
Walang pera ang mga pulis eh. Wala nga panggasolina sa sakyan nila. No? Kaya ang binibigay ko sa kanila ay suporta dun sa kanilang operation. No? So meron kang 1, 2, 3 million na suporta sa operation. No? Pero hindi naman napupunta dun sa institusyon eh. Napupunta sa mga individual na pulis. Kaya talagang malinaw na ito ay bayad.
But also, it makes you wonder
Yeah.
paano mo liquidate yan?
Tama. At yung isang malaking contradiction dito ay merong mga around 20 na drug lords na napatay, merong 7,000 na pusher na namatay, at merong mahigit 20,000 na mga addict na namatay. So, anong klaseng drug war yun? Na yung mga drug lords ay 20 lang. No? Kaya nga ang isang tanong ng isang kongresista, matagumpay ba yung drug lord? Ang iyong drug war, no? Dahil ang sabi niya dati, in 6 months, no? In 6 months, tatapusin niya yung drug problem. No? Yun ang sabi niya. So, yun sana yung magandang ma-emphasize sa ganitong klaseng hearing. Yung mga mismong sinabi niya. Yung mga mismong sinabi niya.
Ibangga mo dun sa mga sinabi niyang iba in the same hearing and before.
I-rehab ko yung mga addict. Tapos yung sinabi niya na, hindi, sunog ng mga utak niya hindi na kayang rehab. No? So, yung sinasabi niya na, mali yan. Mali magtanim ng ebidensya. Pero sa isang interview, sinabi niya, dapat taliman ng ebidensya. At yung statement niya sa Senado, udyukin niyo silang lumaban. That was a clear illegal order. No? So kung iisa-isahin mo yon at yung mga nanonood sa Department of Justice, pwedeng gamitin yon sa mga cases.
Ang sabi nga ni Atty. Nery Colmenares, yung pag-uudyok is in itself, it's in itself illegal kasi that does not fall under self-defense anymore. Kasi you provoked, you illegally provoked the person into fighting back.
Actually, nandun sa sinulat ni Manny Mogato yan, na nanalo ng Pulitzer Prize. No, itong mga naglaban, no? At yung baril na lumilipat ng lugar, naglalakad ng mga baril.
So, ang daming points. But sige, at this point, sorry, tapos pa ang programa natin. Okay.
Grabe yung traffic, no? Grabe. Oo.
Diyan tayo walang laban.
Oo, yan.
Hindi tayo makapaglaban.
Hindi tayo ng laban dyan.
Maglaban na lang tayo dyan. Sige, join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Edling Gao. We are, of course, with Tito Ral Llamas, our resident political pundit.
So sigurado ko bukas ito ulit pag-uusapan natin, no?
Hindi, bukas I think dapat nating himayin
Yes.
in greater detail with more background and context.
Tama, dahil ang haba eh. Kanina
Oo.
pa akong umaga nanonood eh.
Tapos.
Habang kumakain ako eh,
At hindi pa
pinapakinggan
tapos.
ko eh, di ba?
But parang mas masustansya ito kasi dun sa Senado eh.
Oo.
We're getting more
Tsaka,
here.
at least, itong sa Kongreso, ay dinepensahan nila yung institusyon. Hindi mo pwedeng babuyin o bastusin yung institusyon. Hindi katulad na nangyari sa Senado na pinayagan nila magmura. No?
The irony, di ba? It's now Congress that, before it was the Senate, that had a better image. Well, okay, but let's not go there anymore. Sige, patutrouble tayo yun. Sige na. Okay, I'm Ed Ligaw with Tito Ral Llamas. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.